Whatever that was done in the dark comes to the light, and sometimes you don't necessarily want to know what was done.
Dominique Hackey, the father of one of the Henrico doctor's NICU babies found to have broken bones in 2023, concerned that it has taken so long for justice.
I remember her being in the room. She was friendly. She answered questions, but she didn't stay and talk like the other NICU nurses did. She wasn't family like the other NICU nurses were.
He's describing 26-year-old Erin Strotman, the nurse now in jail, charged with felony child neglect and felony malicious wounding, related to a different baby in 2024. Strotman was put on paid administrative leave by the hospital for a year after the 2023 cases of NICU abuse came to light, and then was allowed to return in late 2024. Hackey saying the hospital should be held accountable as well.
Because that shouldn't have happened. If they were suspicious of some person enough to let him go, they shouldn't have brought him back. So that's on them. They failed. Simple.
HCA, the network that oversees Henrico Doctors Hospital, issuing this statement, saying in part it is shocked and saddened by this development in the investigation and that the hospital is focused on continuing to care for its patients. Strotman was just fired from her job on Thursday, Henrico police arresting her that night. Henrico's Commonwealth's attorney Shannon Taylor says the investigation is not over and more charges could come as detectives continue to review NICU video footage.
We will continue to work on building cases if there is evidence present to build other cases to find if there's additional criminal culpability.
Families of some of the young victims from both 2023 and 2024 were present for Strotman's arraignment, seen leaving the courtroom in tears, some hugging each other for comfort.
So we were able to hear this, correct? And the reason I call this Black History Month is because this is something historically that has happened to Black people. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no reason to argue with anybody about any of the facts that are directly out there, especially when the facts are presented by their own people. And that's the funniest thing that I find, right? Whenever you happen to bring these stories up, those that are a part of that group want to try to work so hard to disprove or say, oh, but why does race have to be a part of it? This was just a person that did a bad thing to some children. And what proof do you have that all the children involved were specifically Black? There's articles out there that were written about this story that stated that she specifically targeted Black kids. Funny enough, I found one such individual online, and they said this: your post is deeply misleading. You're spreading unsubstantiated claims that could inflame racial tensions. Erin Strotman was arrested for allegedly causing harm to several infants in the NICU at Henrico Doctors Hospital, but there is no evidence that these actions were racially motivated or targeted specifically at Black infants. Making accusations without factual backing not only misrepresents the situation, but also undermines the serious nature of child AB, which should be addressed without the lens of race unless explicitly proven. The focus should be on the legal proceedings and ensuring justice for all the victims, regardless of race. By framing this as a racial issue without proof, you're diverting attention from the real crime of CA to a divisive narrative. If you're going to make claims about race, ensure they are backed by solid evidence, not conjecture. Ask for facts before making everything about race, especially in cases where the evidence does not support your narrative. Next, she stated, I've not seen any post of the baby's race or their gender. The only people saying the crime was racially motivated that I could find was the post I responded to. Please provide proof of racially motivated crime if such proof exists. I'm not denying it. I'm asking for some sort of evidence. No, there is no proof that the babies were Black. I Googled it. It's wild speculation at this point until it's confirmed. I'm sure the media would be all over this if they could report a racially motivated crime. Just think about it. She proved no proof. And the only article I found just stated babies and didn't specify the race. This is the problem, and you have just a few articles in front of you. Even if you showcase some articles specifically to a person, they'll decide, oh, well, I don't trust this oh, they're Republican, oh, they're Democrat, they're a little bit too independent, they're leaning a little bit too much this side, or oh, this publication is just, solely these groups of people. They're not diverse enough to have a diverse opinion. There's always going to be some type of way that people will try to discredit the articles or what specifically took place in a story, especially those out there that don't want to quote unquote see race as the name. Now, I want y'all to understand, the only time people like this show up and say that, oh, why does race have to be a part of it? They only say this when it deals with white folks. They never say this when it deals with stories where the headliner is somebody black committing a crime. They never show up to state, oh, why does it have to be about race? Why can't this just be an individual in a community that decided to be something? They don't do that. So this also proves the fact that it's always about race, even with them. Even when they're not talking, it's still about race. A case in point, an example, any news story that they run on mainstream media that showcases, quote unquote, black people committing crimes, right? That's some of the main high points that they have, where they can run as many advertisements. They can put the main high money advertisements in between, before and after those stories, because they know that their majority, their people, are going to be there in an influx to look at those stories. And they're going to make sure to remix, they're going to mash, they're going to reuse that story as many times as they see fit, as many times as they think that people are going to just so happen to watch it, so that they can keep monetizing and make as much money as possible off of those stories. Because mind you, they'll play stories directly up there when it deals with white people committing crimes, but they're going to make sure that it's a blurb. They're going to make sure that it's on the radar, off the radar. They're not going to remix. They're not going to mash it. They're not going to put as many commercials as they can, even when it deals with stories of their own people committing good acts. They're not going to put all of these commercials and all of these things, but they will make sure that it's going to be a long segment. They will make sure to interview that person. They will make sure to almost make this into a novel to let you know that, hey, we're out here doing good every single day, while everybody else, aka black people, are doing the utmost negative things, in order to have that superiority, God, He-Man, master of the universe type of complex. Like I said before, they always want to state that when it deals with us, everything has to be about race, but yet they seem to forget that the United States of America was built off of race. How was that happened? Because of the genocide that took place, where the Europeans, white, came over to this landmass where it had indigenous people, of which lived here way before they even knew what the world even looked like. And they decided, hey, this is a nice landmass. We just escaped England because we didn't really want to be out, over there. They also got rid of a lot of their people and allowed them to immigrate over to this great continent of which we just founded. They emptied out their jails, their prisons. They got rid of, Jack the Ripper and anybody else that's, diddling the kids and, anything else. Any of the worst criminals over there in England and Europe, they just, shipped them over to North America and allowed them to be conquistadors and, explorers. Do whatever it is that you want to sit up there and do, as long as you don't do it here, right? We're going to cleanse our lands of you guys. And that's what they did. Anybody who is a European descendant, you are an immigrant. You are a undesirable. You are the ones that they purged from their bloodlines. You are the ones that they purged from their lands, right? And then they started to close up the borders. And when they closed up those borders, they made sure that around the world had open borders so that you guys could freely just go over there and mess all of that stuff up. Yeah, that's your lineage. That's exactly where you come from. So this is why in her bloodline, she does the things that she does. Because I'm pretty sure if you're able to go far enough back, you can trace it back to some criminal-minded individual from the UK, up there from Europe, right? But again, like people, always want to say, what does this have to do about race? No problem. So let's put it into this perspective. Why is it that the majority of stories that I have seen online end up with women that look just like her taking the lives of the children of their families? Why is that? I'm just saying, I didn't throw race in there. I said women that look like her. That's bad. Doesn't do a race. Could be, women that are, what is that, a brunette, whatever type of straight hair that is. Just saying. Why is it? Why is it that, you got women out here that look like her that decide that they want to lie about how their kids disappeared, and inevitably to find out that they and their significant other was the reason that the kids actually disappeared? How is it possible that you've had orphan trains or, all of these abandoned kids that are non-black that were in the United States? Seems a little bit weird, seems a little bit odd to me, but, it is what it is. That's you guys' history, right? But, again, what does race have to really do with any of this, right? But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that's stated in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.